of the Quantum Nerdcore podcast. I'm your host, Steve, and I've got my buds over here. Donnell.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Josh.
What's happening, world?
And Lewis.
Glad to be back, guys.
All right. So, a lot of craziness has been happening lately, especially gaming, news, you name it. The world's a crazy place. I don't know if any of you guys caught that crazy freestyle. Actually, I just remembered by Eminem last night at the BET Awards. That was something else. I don't think I can replay it on air right now for us, but if you guys get a chance, go and check it out. Pretty important stuff he had to say, despite all the muted curse words and slander. But in the meantime, how's everybody's week going so far?
Yeah, so far so good. Can't really complain. Did catch that freestyle. It was, like you said, it's pretty important stuff. And slightly selfish. It's good to see hip hop coming back and actually being about something or saying a message instead of just I'm so tired of the mumble rappers, man. It's not even funny.
I agree with you there. I'm actually pretty sick of mumble rapping to a catchy beat. You know, don't get me wrong, and that's the worst part is that they make it catchy, but you don't understand half of it, and a lot of it is just money, women, drugs, rinse, wash, repeat, Bitcoin. What I don't know. Besides that, let's start. Josh, did you catch Raw or SmackDown this week?
I caught some bits and pieces of it. Yeah, I saw the Big Shield reunion. It was pretty awesome. It's looking good. I mean, this is what you guys, what everybody wanted. Everyone hated Reigns, and now he's back, and now you like him again. But we'll see. I mean, I feel like it's kind of a mixed bag because you hear that Shield music, and then you think like, here comes Roman Reigns. But then you see the three guys, so you're just like, do I like them? Do I hate them? But you're happy to see them back, so I'm happy to see them back.
I agree. I gotta say, but the only way that could have been orchestrated and done well, hey, hats off to The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the best guy on the roster that they've got besides AJ Styles. Just when it comes to who else can really start off a show that way and end up just stealing the show in that regard. He always ends up exceeding expectations, and I think that's remarkable. Guy doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, he's one of the best talkers on the show. Definitely.
For sure. What do you think is going to happen going forward, at least on Raw, just as a quick snippet?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. Right now they'll probably continue the Shield thing for a little while. They're just starting it again, and I think they'll go into WrestleMania probably with another betrayal at that point somehow. But they'll probably keep that going strong. And now with Braun Strowman in the mix, it'll be good. It'll be an interesting thing to watch.
Yeah, I'm hyped. Besides that, bigger news actually in the wrestling world. I mean, obviously everybody freaks out when it comes to Hell in the Cell. Did anybody catch that pay-per-view at all?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, it was good. Shane McMahon threw himself right off like everyone thought he would. I mean, he's crazy. So
yes, more so. I gotta say, first and foremost, like I said to everybody who's not a wrestling fan. If you're not a wrestling fan, it's actually gotten pretty great lately. I would highly suggest you get it. I see Donnell like, this stuff sounds interesting, but I'm not sure. Yeah. But honestly, this is a good time to jump into wrestling. The Shield is back, which is kind of interesting. Besides that, a lot of different people being different characters, which is actually quite interesting. Case in point, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn has been this guy who's been a just constant good guy. And now, funny enough, he just turned heel saving Kevin Owens from Shane McMahon at Hell in the Cell. Like at Hell in the Cell, if you guys don't know, I mean, Shane McMahon, like one of the main, I guess, the son of the owner of the company, is notorious for the crazy matches that he puts on. And furthermore, it's just amazing that he's like 40-something years old and still throwing himself off a cage. I mean, that thing's 15 feet high at least. It's nuts. And he did it this weekend. And normally, when he jumps off the cage, you're like, it's okay. He's probably just going to be sore for a few days. But this time, he just ended.
He bounced off the ground.
He bounced off the table that he fell onto, shoulder first. Like, if that man didn't have any broken ribs and a destroyed shoulder before, I mean, from all those years of wrestling, I mean, he does now. That guy's not showing up for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe it. But that was, I think the big shocker was that this baby face, as we call it, just absolutely turned. He turned to the dark side, and I thought it was so interesting. And then again, it's kind of what makes SmackDown great. It's a little bit more entertaining. That, and it's an hour shorter, so it ends up getting good stories in there. It's kind of coming back to the way it was when we were kids, where it's like a male soap opera, and it's a lot of fun to watch. The wrestling is top notch, so I would say definitely check it out if you get a chance.
Yeah.
But moving forward, I mean, it is Halloween. I have to point out Donnell's shirt.
Definitely. Big Green Lantern fan, dude. Like, I've been following this guy since, like, forever. A big comic book guy. Growing up, I was a little leaned more towards the Marvel side, but Green Lantern's always been my dude. Like, just the fact you've got the power ring, basically one of the most potentially powerful tools in the universe. I love it. I'm
a huge fan of Green Lantern as well. It took me I wasn't as a kid. As a kid, I actually thought Green Lantern was a little bit lame, and I don't know why. I just didn't get it. But if you think about it, now you've got a dude. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got a ring on his finger that's like that can do anything in the universe, which is pretty cool. Anything you think of. But as they developed the story, I love the fact that they went and really evolved the mythos real quick, because now you got me talking about this, and now I may never stop because it's just I have too much fun talking about this stuff.
Definitely. I'm all for that, dude. Like this.
I mean,
like, there's just so many weapons out there. It's like you just it's hard to pick which one is the best. Like me, like I said, Green Lantern fan. The ring is powered by your willpower. Whatever you can imagine, whatever you can will into existence, boom, it's there. I mean, there's not really much that can compete with that, but I don't know. What do you?
No, I agree with you, and I love it. I mean, dude, when it comes to weapons in comics, I mean, the Green Lantern ring, I mean, half the time, how many memes have you seen online about what would you rather have? Captain America's shield, Thor's hammer, Green Lantern's ring. What else? I mean, what other weapons do you have?
Wolverine's claws, always. That has to make its way into every single everything.
And I mean, in the end of it all, I mean, it's pretty up there. I would probably always choose Green Lantern's ring. I mean, technically mind you, here's where the fanboys are going to get mad, but essentially a Green Lantern can take down Superman. This is canon. This is a fact. Fight me. Like, quite literally, there's a Green Lantern ring is probably the most coveted weapon, at least in the DC universe. And what I really like about it is the fact that they really evolved it. You can thank Jeff Johns for that one, and Ethan Van Sciver, just because not only did they evolve it where it literally has to be someone that has an immense amount of willpower. Case in point, at one point in the comics, the Green Lantern ring has sought out Batman himself, and it was a great issue actually of it not too long, a few years back, where when the ring came to him, Hal actually, even though him and Hal Jordan, it's the darkness and the light. So Hal Jordan and Batman, they don't always see eye to eye, but Hal actually went to him and he's like, hey, dude, you could be the greatest Green Lantern of the world just because of how much willpower he has. I mean, heck, one of the storylines right now that's going on is DC Metal. And in DC Metal, that's another one of the weapons that you could, is the Nth Metal wings from Hawkman. That's another one of the most powerful weapons. They're making a whole storyline based on Nth Metal. And it's really turning out to be awesome. Again, written by Jeff Johns. Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder is right. He did a great job with Batman for a while. And essentially, Nth Metal is messing up the DC universe. I won't go into too much, except for there's like I think I talked a little bit about it last week, and it was that there's a Justice League version of all of Batmen that are evil. And speaking, since we brought up Green Lantern, essentially the Green Lantern version, the Dawnbreaker.
Yeah.
The reason that he is so powerful is because of the fact that he has so much will that he can actually corrupt a Green Lantern ring. A version of Bruce Wayne from another dark universe literally goes and bends the ring to his will. So because when he goes to hunt his parents' killer, the ring comes to him, and the ring stops him from killing the guy who killed his parents.
Yeah.
And then he goes and overrides the ring with pure willpower and obliterates the guy anyways. So it's pretty awesome. But yes, I mean, there's so much more to the lore. I could be here forever. But I do love the fact that it's not just willpower anymore. There's a whole spectrum. Yellow, the yellow ring is fear. The Red Lantern ring is rage. The purple one is the indigo one is compassion. The pink one is love. The blue one is hope. Arguably, probably the most powerful one, And what I know I'm missing one. Oh, orange.
Life and death, and avarice.
And avarice, greed, and life and death. So black, white, orange. I mean, all the colors, and they're really well represented. I really like how they took that, and they've still kept it going at this time, almost like as if it never wasn't part of the lore in there. So I really appreciate that. And right now DC's killing it. I mean, pretty soon, just so you guys know. I mean, anybody a fan of the Watchmen?
I love the movie.
Yeah,
that was a
never really got.
I missed that. What was that? The movie?
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie, but again, I haven't been caught up on comics. But I understand they have been messing around with fusing a little bit of those worlds. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. In fact, there's something coming at the end of the year where, of all characters, Superman meets the Watchmen in a story called the Doomsday Clock. And it's really interesting because it's very, very, so far the first 6 pages of it are online if anybody wants to check it out. And it's actually a revisiting of the Watchmen universe. So if you read the graphic novel, it picks up immediately afterwards. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see a character. The reason I like it, right, is because you've got a character that now is finally whole again in Superman, and they're telling some great stories with him. Again, I'll try not to get into it, but the fact that the character of Superman, who embodies hope at this point, who's back to his original inspirational self, goes and I don't know, meets the Watchmen or jumps into that world. It's a really big contrast. So I'm really looking forward to how it starts. And that one, I do believe, is done by Jeff Johns. So that's something to watch for at the end of the year. I'm sure I'll be talking all about it separately. But going forward, I mean, what's up with you guys? I know that, let's talk about that. The new Star Wars trailer. Who hasn't seen it?
Me.
Yeah, I have not.
Going in blind. I don't want to see anything.
All right.
So.
Oh, wow. All right, so you're going to have to leave the podcast for a minute. We're not going to – no, but –
you know what? I may have to mute myself or mute something because, I want to go in completely blind. Like we get – we've been spoiled a little bit getting a few different Star Wars stories, but I want to go in completely blind after, Episode 7 and really enjoy this because it's been a while, so for since we've had that excitement, and after Rogue One, after the last story or the last episode, this is gonna be a good one. This is the Empire Strikes Back of this series. So yeah, I'm totally going in blind.
I don't blame you. If it wasn't that I'd already seen all the other trailers, I'd probably be doing the same. And I'm spoiler Steve in the sense that I'm so curious about what's going on. So I feel, funny enough, this trailer gave away a lot. At least it really lures. If it didn't lure you in before, this is the trailer that lures you in just because there's so much intrigue. It's all throwing you for a loop. Mind you, it could be masterful editing. You know, it could be really good editing of it. You know, putting in that scene with the voice line, and then ending up. You know, it could be a total red herring. I mean, Josh, I know you're a Star Wars fan as well, man. What do you think?
Honestly, I'm going in with Lewis also. I saw the first trailer, and I don't want. I watch movies and I like to be surprised. So with trailers, especially once I've seen the first one and I've convinced myself this is what I'm going to watch, I don't want to watch another trailer that's going to give away something like, is Luke going to die at the end? No, because I saw that part in the trailer where he's reaching out doing that one thing. So I wait the whole movie for him to do that one thing, and it might have been cut out, but it ruins that part for me. So I don't want to give myself those thoughts while I'm watching the movie, and so I'm with Lewis on this one. I stand proud.
All right, Donnell, I guess we're going to have to be really quiet about this. You're killing me. But I don't blame you at all.
We live in a culture where spoilers are everywhere. You go on Reddit, there's spoilers. You go on Twitter, there's spoilers. The last thing you want to do is open yourself up to that. If a trailer can give away so much to a good eye. So the last thing I want to do is rob myself of any type of experience or enjoyment that I could have by watching even a little bit. And because it's not very hard to stay off if you have that intention of staying off, So if you guys want to go ahead and talk about it, I'll kindly, mute the mic or whatever. But I'm not gonna do anything. Like, we got Justice League coming up. We got Thor's coming up. There's a lot of good movies coming up. So I'm media blackout on all of them.
Wow.
I didn't know too much about it. I didn't know too much about anything coming out. So I know there was a trailer for Justice League that just dropped not too long ago. There was, and I guarantee you, I'm gonna go to Thor and I'm gonna see this trailer anyways.
Oh yeah,
dude, I salute you. Wow, you guys now empowered me. Now I feel like Donnell, what do you think about this? This is actually a good point. We might as well talk about it while we're here. Do you guys think that the media is kind of ruining movies for people? I mean, because honestly, a lot of these trailers, and I'll get to this in a minute, but first, Donnell, what do you think about the Star Wars trailer? Just give us a brief synopsis. I don't want to ruin it for these guys. I can't.
All right, cool. I mean, honestly, I fully respect what they're doing.
Yeah.
Fortunately, in today's world, the trailers, they're designed to grab you and pull you in, but sometimes, depending on the movie, depends on who's doing the editing, you can see the entire movie right there in the trailer. There's no surprises. You know exactly what's going to happen. All the jokes and all the action scenes are right there in the trailer. So by the time you get to the movie, you're like, why did I just pay for this? I knew all this was going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I do respect what they're doing, keeping it away so it's just a complete, everything is a surprise. I respect that. That being said, I don't have that kind of willpower.
Take off the shirt. You're done. You're done.
Yeah, you're done.
I don't have that kind of willpower when it comes to that. But it's only because I know a lot of jerks. I can stay away from the trailer, go to work. The next day, it's going to be spoiled. I work in IT. I can't not watch a show when it's like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead or anything, because the second I walk in the office, oh my God, did you see XYZ died? And it's ruined for me. So I'd rather ruin it myself than have somebody else ruin it for me.
I agree with you. And that's what now to that point, it kind of sucks that we are in that culture, just simply because of the fact that, some of these movies that are coming out, and I'm really trying to segue away from it because I'll start talking about it, because that trailer was amazing. And it's but you know what? They're going to have a better time at the movies than we are, because they're going to be able to see it with fresh eyes. So we're going to get that text message later on that's saying, oh my God, that was amazing. Whereas we're like, oh yeah, we saw that in the trailer. But he's right. Josh is right, I believe. He mentioned it also. The trailers, everybody's right in the sense that the trailers are giving away too much lately, I feel. I mean, sadly, we live in a shock culture, and it's one of those things that people just, for whatever reason, can't keep their mouth shut. So I mean, you had to. I mean, listen, I stayed up till 2 or 3 in the morning because I had other things to do to watch the episode of Game of Thrones, just because I knew that the minute I went to work, like you said, I would be bombarded with people who know I'm a Game of Thrones fan, but I just didn't have, have a life, but I didn't have the time. And then sure enough, oh my God, did you see when X, Y, exactly, this person did that? That was incredible. And I'll walk in and I'll just be like, no, I haven't.
Yeah.
Thank you for ruining that for me. And spoilers normally I don't care usually, because even I've been guilty of it. I've gone and been so excited. Like you'll notice as the podcasts go on, I might end up accidentally spoiling something. So I mean, you guys have got to keep me in check when it comes to that. But no, I think that sadly the media is always trying to push more spectacle and more spectacle and more. Just come see this movie. Give us your money, throw your money away, And then in the end, then we lose out on the experience. A case in point, I know that the director of, what's it called, Kingsman, The Golden Circle, was upset because of, these guys, they want to sell the movie, they want to push it, I get it. But they ruined one of the big secrets of the movie. And it's in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. But if you watch the first Kingsman, you know that Harry, Eggsy's mentor, died in the first one. And for me, I agree that it would have been a much bigger reveal if I would have just sat in there, with my popcorn, and my jaw would have dropped when I would have seen Harry come back, to life or been saved. And there was no weird, evil thing behind it. I get that. But it did take the wind out of the sails. The movie was excellent, totally fantastic. But it took the wind out of my sails a little bit because I know I would have preferred to see that in the movie. There was plenty of it in the movie that they could have made a trailer out of. So in that respect, I respect the heck out of these guys. I've got to get better at missing out on some of these trailers. But going forward, has anybody seen the new Blade Runner?
No. I had plans to, and they fell through, so I'm going to watch it this week probably or next week.
Cool. So it sounds like we're all in the same boat. I actually was watching, what's it called? I started watching the first Blade Runner. I'm, big thanks to Frank if you're watching. Thanks for he got me a copy of the director's cut. And I definitely am going to just sit down and pace myself and watch that before I watch 2049. And it's going to be. I'm hoping it's good. I mean, the reviews are great, even though the sales are not. Although it opened up big on the other side of the world, and I'm hoping that just positive news will take a movie like that, that's expertly done and directed and has a great plot, and push it, over that, so we get more movies like that. I don't want the culture to be where we get all these movies that are, just whack, for lack of a better term, because of the fact that studios are scared to invest in good movies with a solid plot, or movies that just didn't get a lot of advertising but have good word of mouth. I mean, sheesh. I mean, it's all spectacle at this point, but I do like some, good plot in my movies. Besides that, so I guess next week we'll talk about that. Speaking of spectacle, who saw the UFC fights this weekend?
Well, I was with you there.
I know. All right. Yeah. So I guess I have to add, Donnell, you a big UFC fan? Josh?
I mean, I'll pick a match or two, but I don't follow it like that.
Okay.
Yeah, same here. I'll see some highlights every once in a while, or I'll hear it from you. You'll send me a link, and I'll definitely check it out, because if you're sending it to me, it's because I'll probably like it. So yeah, I'll check it out, but yeah, not following it like you guys.
Oh, well, just giving you guys a quick recap. And the reason I want to talk about this is because it was spectacular. Actually, for being a low-key card, UFC, I believe it was, 216? Yeah, or 217, one or the other.
I think it was 216.
216, okay. Well, long story short, there's a bunch of big fights in the night, but the two big fights that we all, I guess, came to see are two championship fights. We've got this guy, Tony El Cucuy, which, if you don't know what El Cucuy is, he's Puerto Rican, and he's Puerto Rican as hell. It's funny, because he's so Puerto Rican that I didn't know what a Cucuy was, and I'm Puerto Rican. And this guy, a Cucuy is another word for the boogeyman in Puerto Rican Spanish slang. And I had to look that up, and I felt pretty ashamed of myself, considering my family. I'm sure when they see this, they're probably going to disown me. But anyways, a fantastic main event between Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson, which anybody who, if you get a chance, man, check it out. It was a technical display. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think I was driving Lewis nuts with all the commentary I was making. I was flipping out over there about how, you know, he was staying on the line and he was popping that amazing jab that he's got. And you could tell that this guy's jiu-jitsu game was just incredible. You know, it's amazing how he was in a rough spot in the first round, but guy composed himself to become the new interim lightweight UFC champion. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because it's going to lead to a way bigger fight.
Just to clarify, the winner was Tony Ferguson. That's Kukui, and then the loser was Kevin Lee. And it like Steve was saying, it was a great fight. It was very technical on Ferguson's end, but Lee had his shots. There were quite a few times where Lee stunned him, and you know there was some great back and forth between them. But in the end, it was just a clinic put on by Tony Ferguson. He just kept coming at him, kept popping him. I think he broke his nose, in the middle during that fight. And the guy was bleeding out of it and everything, Lee. So that was a great fight. But Steve, go ahead and tell him about the biggest fight that is actually on the smallest weight class in the UFC for the men's division.
I couldn't agree more. I was freaking out because and this is the one that also you get to see, Kevin Lee. Hey, big ups to him because he did a great job. He couldn't finish, but hey, he put out a good show. And Tony Ferguson, I mean, hey, congrats to him, new interim champ, and the guy's riding a 10-fight win streak. So at this point, the guy's the real deal. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but and right after the fight, he called out, none other than Conor McGregor. If you don't know who that is, well, you've been living under a rock for a while. I mean, Conor McGregor is pretty much the biggest draw in fight sports right now. And to unify those belts, because Conor's the champ, Tony Ferguson's the interim champ. We got to see what happens and who defends it going forward. But the big fight I want to talk about the most is because it's something nobody's ever seen before. Is Mighty Mouse. My God, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. That guy is the truth. Plain and simple. That guy's the champ of champs, the one and only flyweight champion in UFC history. And he basically cemented his place as probably the greatest of all time in the UFC because of the fact that he not only won his 11th title defense, but he put on a clinic while doing it. And when I'm talking about clinic, I mean he was masterful from beginning to end. And something that you guys have to see, and if you guys haven't seen it, I'm going to try to find a link. The original link I had got taken down by the UFC. I've been sending it to everybody because I've been freaking out. And that is that he beat this guy up for 23 and a half minutes. And then he said, you know what? I'm not content yet. I'm not going to go and I'm not just going to beat him, with a normal decision. I'm going to own him. I'm going to completely show that there was never any question who the man was. So at the end of this fight, now mind you, I'm talking a lot with my hands just because I want to show what he did. And it's amazing because he literally grabbed him from the floor, literally clasped his arms around his waist, launched him up into some sort of a suplex, and then caught his arm on the way down and put him into an armbar in the same motion. It was, I don't know what other way to say it. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal. It was magnificent. Yeah, that's how amazing it was. I mean, Lewis, you tell him because I could go on for days.
If you need to imagine it, especially for the old time wrestling fans, that this guy was Kurt Angle. And he's going in for those, 3 suplexes. But instead of doing, 3 of them, he just does 1, but only halfway. And instead of going all the way, he just tosses them up in the air and does a flying armbar to submit him with, like I said, a minute 30 left in the fight where he was owning him and playing with him the entire time. Really no contest. And it was funny because at the end of the fight, what Mighty Mouse had his post-fight interview, and he was talking about how he didn't respect his game. You know, as Borg, the contender, didn't respect his skirmishing fights, and he just wanted to come in there and completely own him. And that this move that they haven't even seen in the history of the UFC. He had pulled it multiple times off in the gym, and he just wanted to bring it out for fun. Like, this guy is going down as probably going to be the pound for pound best that the sport has ever seen, and it's really a shame that he doesn't get more appreciation from the UFC, because he's cleaned out the entire division, and you know, he's just not a big draw because people don't like to see smaller people fight, and it's really a disappointment because he's incredible, you know.
Yeah, hands down, I completely agree with that. It's sad that, I mean, other people talk a lot. This guy doesn't need to talk to really fight. I mean, I'm in shock, just because if this is the guy that should be making money, this is the guy that should be getting all the sponsorships, this guy should really be known as the man. This is the guy that should be showing up on all the late night shows, and it's a real shame because the guy gets better every fight. He doesn't need the trash talk; he just brings it, you know. And I'm old school in the sense that you don't need to talk trash, man, because it's to me, the UFC, boxing, and all that, they can be gentlemen's sports, man. Hey, you can be the best, you can be the man. You know, you don't have to constantly tell people you are. You can show it, and he shows it time and time again. But speaking of showings, I know I keep segueing like crazy, but a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Google. I actually had missed that Google came out with their own little presentation. Donnell, I think you guys, Donnell and Josh, I think you guys might be more up the alley. I have an iPhone right now. I'm kind of interested in the iPhone X. The iPhone, they did, they went the whole, oh, we don't have a headphone jack. Look at us. We're so courageous. Don't get me wrong. I have an iPhone, but I'm not going to be a fanboy in any way. I actually respect a lot of stuff because, let's be honest, Apple is just kind of doing what Google's already done and just kind of putting their mark on it. I'll say that. But, hey, Apple stuff works. It's very solid for me. And that's as far as it's going to go. There's not going to be any trash talk from me. What did they release this week?
Yeah, they released and showed that they were going to release the Pixel 2 and the Pixel XL, which is the larger screen version. Think iPhone and iPhone Plus. As a photographer, I am really interested in the camera because it's, so far, what I've seen is pretty mind-blowing. Great picture resolution is amazing. It's also got the AR features, so it's supposed to be the first phone with fully functional object recognition. So say if you're out and doing a business meeting, you need somebody to get their business card, take a picture of it, it'll automatically recognize this is a business card, take all the information, put it in. You want to use the Google image search, like there's a plant outside, you're going for a walk, I just walked by a plant, now I'm itching, what the hell was that? Take a picture of the plant, they can do the image search and tell you exactly what the plant is, if it's poisonous, what just happened to you. That's pretty impressive.
I feel like I need to burn you at the stake now for being a heretic or a witch, because that's incredible. That's like, that's unbelievable. Are you kidding me?
Like that, it's pretty impressive of what it can do. But as with a lot of when you got a lot of good, there's also a lot of bad with it. Yeah, they got rid of the headphone jack, which is same step in the direction that Apple took with their iPhone. They've got the lightning jack now, and they've got, yeah, it's so courageous, so mind blowing. They're changing everything all over again. I'm thinking that's more of like a jab at Apple because, yeah, I mean, I've got an iPhone. In no way, shape, or form Apple fanboy, but it works. I like it. It does what I need it to do. but that is the truth. So Apple has basically been copying and redoing and improving everything that's Android has already done. But this always-on feature, basically with the face recognition, you point up your face, kicks on, same thing as the iPhone X, which is coming out. Great, that's fantastic. I don't want to get into conspiracy theories or anything like that, but the fact that it basically says it is always listening what's going on around you. Like if you're in a club and you hear music, your phone will automatically pick it up, hey, this is the song that was playing. Which means it's also listening to conversations and basically everything going on around you. That I'm not too crazy about. But we'll see as more reviews and benchmarks come out about the phone. What do you think about it, Josh?
Oh, I'm really excited. I love Google. I currently have an old Nexus, it's 2 years old, so I'm looking to upgrade it. And the Pixel 2 is definitely, it's caught my eye, and it's looking really enticing, you know. So the whole headphone jack, you know, it bothers me. They literally made fun of that last year. They said, and it's got a headphone jack, Apple. Like, it might as well have just said that. And now, a year later, they look like hypocrites. But it's fine. You know, this is the direction they want to take. I'm willing to forgive them because of my love and fandom for Google. Aside from that, yeah, the always listening thing, it's a little weird, but I have an Alexa right now, which I'm hoping I'll switch out for a Google Mini eventually. But it does the same thing, you know. If you want to make your home a smart home, you're going to have to sort of take that route eventually and trust that the companies that you're purchasing these products from are doing the right thing with that information that you're putting out there to make your home that sweet futuristic home that you always wanted, you know, as a kid. Anyways, that's the way I always wanted it, you know, that Jetsons home or whatever. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a little weird, you know, to think that somebody's listening, but you hope that you trust that they're using it for the right reasons.
I got a question. So you, Donnell, you were saying, you know, you're a photographer, and you know, you were talking about the camera on this new phone. How does that compare to Samsung cameras or iPhone cameras? Like, what's the difference? Because I mean, cameras are everywhere you go, or your phones are with you wherever you go, and most of the time you're taking a picture, you're going to be with your camera. So for my girlfriend or my fiance, it's a big thing, taking her pictures like that. Is this a phone I should really be on the lookout if I want to be taking some pictures, you know, like posting to Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that? Like, should I really be looking into this phone, or is it comparable enough to the iPhone if she's already used to that, you know, to stay in that ecosystem? What do you think?
Gotcha. Well, basically, it's from what I've heard. I haven't had my chance to actually get my hands on one to play around with and take it for a test drive, so to speak, just yet. But from what I'm hearing, it's the camera is supposed to be really sharp, near DSLR level, basically like the iPhone 7 Plus. I believe it is going to have the same bokeh effects when you use the portrait mode. So that's always a beautiful thing. Like, right now, I honestly, as much as I hate to admit it, I hardly ever carry my my Canon 5D Mark III anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, but honestly, it's like a lot to carry for near the same quality as my 7 Plus.
That's right. 7 Plus does have a hardware lens, I think, instead of this. I have the regular 7, funny enough. And it's yeah, but I mean the cameras are getting to the point now, yeah, where it's like, unless you're a pro photographer, I mean these phones are really doing a number. Just they're amazing, you know, and not to mention now they're integrating all these features. I don't know if anybody upgraded to iOS 11 on their iPhones, but no, it's impressive how they just keep improving this technology already. And it's you didn't think, I mean, pretty soon we're probably going to be recording our podcasts on our phones instead of the webcams that we have. No, I mean, it's interesting. I didn't know that it was an always-on feature, so that's news to me. I know that they released the Pixel, and I guess I know Google's probably trying to cut into that Alexa market share, especially since now, I mean, it's starting to become mainstream that everybody has these. I mean, Amazon's done a great job of really promoting these things and putting it everywhere you need to. And I mean, heck, I mean, I don't know if anybody watched one of the latest South Park episodes, the one with Alexa, the one where all the kids keep giving Alexa a to-do list. You know, and it was hilarious. I'm not gonna get into it too much because it was funny, but vulgar. But it was really funny, and I could see that the world is going that way. And it's awesome though to hear at the same time, like Josh, that's a great optimistic point of view. I mean, I'm hoping that people don't use it for nefarious means. But besides that, I guess what else is going on? And let's go to the topic, I guess, gaming. A lot of stuff has been going on in gaming, and there is something I do want to talk about. But anybody playing anything different? I know a couple events started this week in different games. Namely, I mean, Overwatch had its yearly Halloween event. Anybody playing that?
Yep. I was on it before I got on here. I was playing. I've already pulled the Reaper skin. I pulled some skins. The Symmetra from last year. The Bastion skin from last year. So I've gotten a few things already the change to the loot box system makes these events awesome. Like you never have to worry about getting duplicates, and you still get some coins. Like I have enough coins to go and buy something new if I wanted to, but I'm just waiting right now. I'll save those coins to the end because there's still a lot that I want. I haven't been playing anything else, but I am going to start with Shadow War coming out. I think it just came out. I'm going to go ahead and probably play Shadow Mordor. I've had it for a while. I'll play it probably on PC. And then I was thinking about getting into the Metal Gear Solid 2 since it was just released on Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, since it was just released on PlayStation Plus. I think it was last week.
Okay. What about you guys? All playing it too? I mean, I'm playing it, but I'm gonna be I have a gripe. So I mean, before I want to get all the good stuff. Anybody else interested in it, or what do you think? Do you think that the same event from last year is it showing its age, or do you think that maybe it's still good? I know it's harder this year, that's for sure.
I mean, I haven't tried it yet. Like, I know it's out, so I'll probably jump on once we finish up here. Honestly, last year I liked it. I liked the whole Dr. Junkenstein theme, waves. I loved it. So I don't think it would be really showing its age. But like I said, I haven't tried it this year. I'm not sure if anything at all has changed, or it's like the exact same thing. I enjoyed it, so it might still be good.
What about you, Josh?
I mean, I played with it a little bit. I got the game last year right after a Halloween event ended, so this is a fresh take for me. Dr. Junkerstein was really fun and interesting. I can actually hear my girlfriend playing the game right now, so I'm a little jealous because I haven't really had much time to play with it. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I love the events, and Blizzard does a good job, so looking forward to doing more of it. That's pretty much it. The Battlefront 2 beta came out this week. I don't know if anybody else checked that out. I did. I was lucky enough to play it over the weekend, and it was a lot of fun. It's a good game, and I don't know if you guys played Battlefront 1, but this one introduced Episode 1, 2, and 3 Darth Maul, and it looks great. I mean, its graphics are amazing, and it was cool. It was cool invading that stronghold in Episode 1 with Darth Maul, and it was a nice little feature. I know it changed segues, but I was just thinking about games I was playing, and that's the game that I played.
No, that's awesome. That's actually great because you're bringing me to my next subject, funny enough. I played a little bit of the Overwatch thing of the event. I love the new skins, particularly Torbjorn. What else? Torbjorn's, which is the one that everybody – and I play a lot of Zenyatta, so I really want the Cthulhu Zenyatta and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just me, but it lost its luster from last year for me personally. Like, honestly, it gets really boring really fast. Sadly, I know. It's like I played it. They made it harder. They added they added another mode where you can play with different characters in it. So you can play like an endless mode that's just really a harder survival mode. But I was kind of hoping for at least a different scenario or a different invention. I don't know. I think that they kind of phoned it in. The skins are great. Some of the emotes are great. Every time a new event comes out, I love looking at the new skins, voice lines, everything. But I thought that basically rehashing the same event for the second year in a row, the first year was fun. It would have been cool if they included last year's event and had something new or something, or a different take or a different map. But I don't know. I'm not feeling it as much as I was last year. Last year maybe I just played it too much last year, so I'm just kind of over it. I'm glad that they added an endless mode to it, or that you could play different characters in it, but I'm not feeling it. But speaking of Battlefront 2, it's Battlefront 2 and Shadow of War. Both are games that actually are exemplifying the topic that I wanted to talk about today. By the way, as a quick segue, but I forgot, Cuphead is great. If you guys haven't played it, if you have an Xbox or a PC, play Cuphead. It's challenging, but it's a game that you never feel like the game cheated you out of a win. It's kind of a game for get good, and it plays well. The graphics are amazing, and I can't stop playing it. It's so much fun, and even though it can be a little bit tough at times, there's never been a time where I was so upset that I just threw my hands up and said, I can't do this anymore and change games. I actually get roped into that old nostalgia feeling from when I was playing NES games, where it was like literally you just beat your head into the wall over and over again. And this time it looks really pretty to do it. You know what I mean? You're having fun the whole time. Great game for $20 or less. Highest recommendation I can give it. And if you don't like games that are challenging or hard or even difficult, games that force you to get better, then skip it. But otherwise, honestly, Game of the Year candidate. But segueing right along, the reason I am so excited that you guys both talked about Shadow of War and Battlefront 2 is because I am actually a big fan of Battlefront 1. I had the first one. I was able to get the season pass, which I'll talk about all that season passes and stuff at another time. But I got it on the cheap, and I enjoyed it for what it was. And Shadow of Mordor was a great game, not bad at all. But here's the problem. Everybody is trying to equal the Overwatch formula. The big controversy that's happening right now in the gaming world is that loot boxes. Everybody's got them. Everybody's using them. Every game it needs them apparently now. Forza 7, brand new game that just came out as well. If you're a gearhead, again, it's another spectacular outing by the people who make Forza. I mean, these guys really know what they're doing. Beautiful game, but loot boxes. Loot boxes in there, and loot boxes are also in Shadow of War. Loot boxes are in Gears of War 4. Loot boxes are in Battlefront 2. We're starting to see a trend, but it's not all positive. It's not all something that I personally, the reason I'm not picking up Shadow of War, even though Shadow of Mordor was fantastic, is because of these loot boxes. Case in point, to explain, in the game, I guess you get these loot boxes to get better orcs for your armies because you have to, fend off Sauron and his armies as well. So you need more and more orcs to lead your armies all over, the Lord of the Rings universe, I guess. I'm sorry, Middle Earth. Excuse me. Took me a second. But it gets to the point, supposedly, I mean, mind you, they say it's not invasive. There's some cosmetic stuff. And this is all going from hearsay, but I've been reading a lot about it. And they say that at the end of the game, you can beat the game without the loot boxes. But if you want that finale, you want the true ending to the game, you actually have to keep playing and grinding till loot boxes give you what you need to finish the game. Now, it's not as abusive as, unfortunately, it's going to be in Star Wars Battlefront 2. In Star Wars Battlefront 2, your progress seems to be hindered by not getting loot boxes. So what they're saying, essentially, your progression is halted until you either put more money into the game or happen to luck out and getting the right loot box through whatever means the game gives you to get them. And I don't like that. I find it's abusive. I find that there's better ways to lock progression, and it's a bad trend. Like, look, Overwatch does it, and yeah, I mean, some people hate on it too, but you know what? It's all cosmetic stuff, and as you level, you get them anyways. So if you're gonna talk about a multiplayer game, that's as acceptable. That's my line. Any further than that, where it goes and it bothers me. Honestly, I want to know you guys' takes on it. Josh, you played it. What do you think? Battlefront 2. I'm really upset about this. I really wanted it, especially since they didn't have any season. I heard they're not selling a season pass this time, but now they're giving you loot boxes, which is even worse. And it's a random number stopping you from really progressing in a game. What do you think?
It felt like they had just taken a Overwatch mechanic I was very familiar with and put it into this game, and you're used to it, but at the same time, I was like, they could have done something else. They could have used some other method of giving you gear, or grinding it out, point system, purchasing, with these points you win, and not like I got Overwatch for loot boxes, and I get a lot of those, so I don't need another game. It's the same thing. The only difference is right now is that your controller doesn't vibrate. Like in Overwatch it vibrates. In this game it doesn't. But I'm doing the same thing and it just feels weird. So, but yeah, that was pretty annoying, and them hindering any game progression. It's EA, unfortunately, doing what EA does, trying to get more money out of the players. So hopefully they take a key from from Blizzard and see that these people complaining are complaining for a reason. They want to buy a game that's going to give them what they want, and not have to keep on shoveling in money and every time they need to get somewhere in the game. So.
All right, Lewis, what do you think? Loot boxes, yay or nay? I know you're a fan of. Like I said, you're going to play Shadow of Mordor. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't mind loot boxes. Like I've bought my fair share of loot boxes on the games that I enjoy, and if it's really, they're just optional. And if you're a hardcore fan of the series, especially of this Shadow of War one, if you're a hardcore fan, there are two options you can take. You can grind it out and buy, or buy, or you can just go hop online and have somebody else do the work for you. Like I'm okay with that especially if I played the game. Like if that's the thing I have to do in order to get that ending. I don't mind that. I know there are people that they don't want to. They want to experience it for themselves. Now, what I would mind is if they tied a trophy behind that, like get the true ending to the game, or an achievement. That I would be upset with, because then now you're forcing trophy hunters, or forcing people, for if completionist minded people, that they have to either spend money or something like that. But if it's I don't have any problem with it if it's not blocking some type of trophy or something like that. Loot boxes, they're here to stay. Every game is having them, because every game has found out that, or every developer has found out that, hey, this is a way to make money after after we sell the game. And I'm okay with people making money from people who want to give them money. That's part of being owning a business and making something, a piece of art that people want to consume. So I have no problem with loot boxes as a concept. It's just hiding things behind it. The alternate ending, I can see it being a problem. It's kind of a messed up thing to do, and I'm sure that we'll get the backlash from that, to make it known across the gaming community. Don't do something like this. But like, if you really have a problem with it, don't buy the loot boxes. And if you want to see it, I'm sure it's online. Like, it's really not a problem for me.
Okay, Donnell, what do you think? It's an interesting take. You're. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're in the minority right now.
Yeah, what's that?
Echo. Hello?
All right, no problem. Yeah, like I was saying, I played the first Battlefronts. It was cool. I enjoyed it. As for the loot box gate, which I've just coined, we're going to call it that from now on all over the internet. That's what it is, in the loot box gate. I really want to watch and see how it progresses, how it evolves. Because if it proceeds in the same manner as you're doing with Shadow of Mordor, like you can complete the game without getting a single loot box, I'm fine with it. But if it's going to hinder your progress in the game, if you don't get these or don't purchase them, like the Battlefront 2, that I have a huge problem.
Testing. Yep, I see that our audio is a little bit off. Sorry about that, ladies and gents. But no, I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of loot boxes now determining game progression. That's where that's too far. Listen, and trust me, I know there's people that are gonna hate on me saying that there's no reason for any of that stuff, and there's ways. And look, I'm an old school gamer. Look, I used to enjoy unlocking things through sheer grit and effort. Mind you, nowadays, as a father, as a husband, and everything else, you know, obviously my time is valuable, more valuable in the sense that I have very little time to dedicate. So I want to get to that point. I mean, you know, heck, perfect example is Batman Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight, you know, you had to get that true ending. You had to get all the Riddler trophies. Those Riddler trophies took hours and hours and hours to get. So in the end of it all, I said, look, I beat the game as much as I could do it. And then I went and I watched the real ending online because I just didn't have the time. I watched it on YouTube. You know, I watched it on Twitch. However, you know, I at least like the fact that I had the option. If I ever wanted to go back and make that true ending myself, I don't have to pay for it. But we'll see. I like that loot box gate. We'll see how this develops, just simply because of the fact that I just believe it's not fair to the public. Listen, I would rather them sell the skins outright. I would rather them sell stuff that's just, you know,
aesthetic,
cosmetic. Yeah, cosmetics. And I mean, look, there's games that win. There's games that make tons of money selling just cosmetic stuff. Like, oh my God, what is it? Pillars of Eternity, or what's the other one? There's an Obsidian RPG.
You can go through. There's a lot of games. I mean, you got any you know free to play game that's on, like League of Legends, Dota, you know, Heroes of the Storm. They all are. You know, you get stuff from that. Then you got like same thing with like Marvel Heroes, Omega. Yeah, a lot of cosmetics you can get. But this is the same thing as Destiny. You know, like people wanting to pay for the cosmetics, but guess what? If you pay for the one skin, they get your money one time. If you pay for the loot boxes, they get your money on repeat. And I'm okay with that because, you know, like and personally, because, you know, there is some risk reward there. You know, like when you open up a loot box and you get the thing you want, then that feels really good. You know, like it's the same thing. Like Overwatch now, you can buy the costume that you want. If you want like Cthulhu Zen, you can go and buy it, and it's not a problem. You know, I mean, not with physical money, but you can buy it with the currency in the game that you played the game for. But you know, you can also open those loot boxes, and you could just get that by playing the game too. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. It's like people who complain about the loot boxes. A lot of time I don't see them as being the people that are really buying the loot boxes. If you're buying this because you really want to support the developer, or you really want what's in them. If you don't want them, then you're just kind of complaining for somebody, and that's a culture thing that's been happening a lot. Just complaining for somebody else. You know, this is a trend in gaming that has been happening and is starting to become established, that they're just getting loot boxes. There, a lot of games are getting loot boxes. That does not mean that you have to subscribe to the idea of buying loot boxes if that's not what you want. I don't know. I mean, that's just me.
No, I agree. And that's a great. I mean, that's a good point. That's a great point. But my thing is, if we pay $60 for a game, we should be able to get the full amount of it. What I'm scared about is the, I guess, proliferation of now getting pieces of game. You know what I mean? Instead of getting a full game. But, you know, we're going to debate about that a little bit later. Honestly, a great takes from everybody. I've enjoyed tonight's conversation. I've had a lot of fun. But if anything, catch us next week. Guys, if you want to say hi, you guys see our banners up below on Twitter at El Stevo. You can also hit us up at NerdCP or send us an email at nerdcultureproductions@gmail.com. This has been another Nerd Culture production. So, Donnell, Josh, and Lewis, see you guys later. Have a great night, and so hopefully see you guys next week.
See you later, guys.
See you guys later. If you have any want to discuss, let us know what you want to hear.
Yep, let us know. We're dying for questions, answers, etc. But we'll see you guys next time. Bye.